not just an entertainment platform. It's a great place to share the expertise that you have. Those are things that people are actively searching for on YouTube. It leads to monetization opportunities in a similar way that does in real life. And YouTube is the same exact way, except you get to do it at scale. Monetization attached from the very first video. And by the time he reached 35,000 subscribers, he had generated over $1 million in profit.
So if you've ever wondered, am I too late or just too old to start YouTube? Well, you're not the only one. And I'm definitely over 40, and I'm still learning and building this channel really from the ground up, maybe like you are. So today, we have got YouTube expert Nick Nimmin, and he's going to be here and he's going to break down how you can benefit from YouTube without chasing trends or needing a massive audience. Welcome to Brimming with Wisdom. I'm Doug Piper, and we talk to Gen X and Boomers reshaping what success looks like. And this season, we're going to talk to award-winning YouTubers. And today, I'm sipping a rich, single-origin Ethiopian coffee, and I'm joined by none other than the amazing Nick Nimmin, who has helped millions of content creators behind their channels. Now, Nick, what's in your cup?
So right here, because it is evening where I'm at, so in my cup, I just have good old-fashioned H2O.
A lot of over 40 creators think YouTube is just for entertainment and not their boring and seemingly dated expertise. But what if that's exactly what makes their content or your content monetizable? So Nick, I want to know how over 40 creators can turn their deep expertise in many cases. How can they turn that into real income beyond just YouTube ads?
Well, first, when it comes to YouTube, it's important to have context in terms of the power of YouTube. When it comes to YouTube, it's not just an entertainment platform. It's the largest educational platform on the planet. It's the largest streaming platform on the planet. More people watch YouTube than they watch Netflix on their TVs. It's actually more people are watching YouTube than all of the other streaming services combined. So because of that, the opportunity that you have to reach people is staggering. And that includes over 2 billion people on the platform itself. So when it comes to getting yourself in front of people, YouTube is the place to do it. And because there's so many people interacting with YouTube and it's being consumed on every device, it's a great place to share the expertise that you have, because whatever it is that you have inside of your brain, or the things that are going to lead to business, those are things that people are actively searching for on YouTube. Those are things that people are watching videos about. And when you can start making content about those things, you simply give yourself the opportunity to jump in front of those people when they're looking for that information, or if YouTube ends up recommending your content to them when they're consuming other content that would be similar in topic.
So viral videos get all the attention, but it's really trust that gets sales. So Nick, how does building genuine trust with an audience lead to monetization opportunities?
It leads to monetization opportunities in a similar way that, it does in real life. When you're networking with other people, you are giving yourself more opportunities to open additional doors. And YouTube is the same exact way, except you get to do it at scale. So when it comes to YouTube, there's something, and just media in general, there's something called parasocial relationships. We gravitate towards particular ones. And those are the ones that we feel that connection with, because in some way, for whatever reason, we either relate to them more or we like them more based on the things that we discover about them through their content or how they communicate it. So because of that, even if you're coming into a niche or a genre of content that is crowded, there's still people that will resonate with you. So because of that, people will put this limit on themselves to where they say, well, I can't make content about that because there's so many people making content about that, or I can't make content for YouTube because there's so many people on YouTube. Well, you're not on YouTube, and there's going to be a whole group of people that are going to like you, and they're going to like you better than some of the other creators who make content like you, or they're going to like you alongside some of the creators or other creators that they also relate to or that they like when it comes to content. So because of that, it's just a huge opportunity to develop relationships at scale. And what can happen is, in addition to whatever it is that you are trying to bring attention to or whatever it is that you're trying to sell, be it a product or service, in addition to that, you're also going to have other opportunities come your way. through making content, you're going to have people reach out to you that want to collaborate with you in some way. You're going to have people that will reach out and offer business ideas. You're going to have people that will reach out and offer you all kinds of different things just because they watch your video and they enjoy the content and they enjoy the way that you do it. And ultimately, that funnels down to them liking you.
So it literally is a social currency, but sounds like you got to be careful how you spend it. Are there some cautions there?
Sure. Trust. Trust is a big deal. If you violate that trust, then they're not going to trust you anymore. One thing that I often like to share with people when I'm talking about affiliate marketing specifically and selling your own personal products or services through your YouTube channel is when you have something on your YouTube channel that you're offering, you have to make sure always, regardless of how lucrative a brand deal might be or how good that affiliate program might be or anything like that, you have to always look through the lens of, is this a good quality product that's going to add value to the people that are watching my videos, yes or no? And if it is, then once they go there, are they going to have a good experience? Is the thing that I'm selling or trying to bring attention to easy to use, easy to understand? Is it really going to help them solve a problem? Because what happens is if you are trying to bring attention to things, your own things or other things, then in that case, what can happen is if you give somebody a recommendation, and let's say, for example, I get your coffee cup. And, I see them in your videos and you're like, yeah, go down to the description and go check out my coffee cup. And I go into the video description and I buy your coffee cup and I'm expecting it. I'm like, oh man, I've been waiting for this. I see him using it all the time. I've just been wanting to get it. And then it shows up at my door. I get out of the box and it's much smaller than I thought it was going to be. The quality is bad. It's weighted wrong. It's made somewhere out of just poor quality materials. The next time you recommend something to me, I'm immediately going to make the connection to that coffee cup that I wasn't happy with, right? However, and then I'm not going to take that recommendation. If you're like, hey, go check this out, I'm not going to, because I'm going to expect that it's probably low quality too. However, if I take your coffee cup out of the box and I use it, just like Roger Wakefield's cup right here, it's the biggest coffee cup that I have. This thing is awesome. The handle's absolutely fantastic. And with this particular coffee cup, it's awesome. Right. And if I have that same experience with yours, then in that case, the next time you recommend me something, if you're like, hey guys, we just had these new coffee cups come in and these particular coffee cups, they're in a different color. They have this different material. It's going to feel a little bit different in your hand, but these are really good. What I'm going to say is, wow, this last one that I got, it was awesome. I drink from this all the time. Every morning, it's my coffee cup that I drink from. So because of that, let me go check out this other coffee cup, because if he's saying that it's even better than this one, then it's probably going to be better. So I'm at least going to give it a shot, right? So you'd have to make sure that you're always maintaining that trust with your viewers, because if you break it, then they're not going to come back. There's so many other people that they can watch, so many other people they can buy things from. So you have to maintain that trust.
I guess that shift from focusing on clicks to an individual, an avatar, one person is a real pro tip. So next, let's talk about strategy and how you start building the right kind of individual or audience or avatar. So how's the fastest way to get paid on YouTube? Knowing exactly who you're talking to. So Nick, how exactly do you figure that audience, or as we talked about earlier, your avatar or your individual's pain points that could open the door to monetization through products, services, or even sponsorships?
The easiest way that I found, specifically when it comes to YouTube, but you can also use Google for this also, is to go up to the search bar and start typing in things around the products and services that you offer. And you're going to see all the questions that people ask about those products or services. Those questions are the problems that people are trying to solve. In my case, it's how do you get views on YouTube? How do you get brand deals? How do you monetize a YouTube channel? YouTube tips for beginners, those types of things. And when you start looking for what it is that they are looking for, then it helps you be able to know what content that you need to make in order to get in front of them. In addition to that, it's also helpful to join other communities around those, around what it is that you have to sell. So for example, if you're like, okay, I am trying to sell these coffee cups, then in that particular case, going and hanging out in coffee communities on Reddit and Facebook and looking at other YouTube channels that talk about coffee and things like that, and then going and looking at the profiles of the people there and trying to just get an understanding of, the age groups and those sorts of things that are, important when it comes to selling coffee cups. But also when it comes to the problems that they're trying to solve, once you start making content for the problems that they're trying to solve, the things that they're searching for, then what's going to happen is those people are going to come in and they're going to start interacting with your YouTube channel. And then you're going to get stats on your back end that in your creator studios, what that's called, you're going to get stats back there, and it's going to let you know the types of people that are interacting with that content as well. And you can kind of fine tune things from that particular point. But then there's also the elephant in the room. So for example, if you are making, if you're trying to sell, tech equipment, specifically we'll say podcasting equipment for this conversation, then in that particular case, one of the elephants in the room is, okay, well, that person probably needs to be a podcaster or content creator of some sort. And then, you kind of narrow things down from there.
So you'll create this list. So I'm looking on YouTube. I could probably easily come up with a dozen of them on, how to do brand deals and things like that. How do I prioritize those?
That's going to come down to, you and what it is that you want to make and what you think is going to be the best fit for what it is that you're trying to bring attention to. So for example, in your case, if you were trying to bring attention to your coffee mug, in that case, then, you could make content about coffee. And if you make content about coffee, absolutely, you're going to have people that are going to be watching that content that are going to be using coffee mugs, right? Some of them are going to be using tumblers and some of them are going to be using, other things, but, a lot of people are going to be using coffee mugs. So that's a good fit. However, if you also find that people are looking for good, coffee mug recommendations, then in that case, if you find that in YouTube search, you could make a list of, hey, these are the best coffee mugs. And then in that particular case, what you're doing is you're actually hopping in front of someone that is actively looking for what it is that you sell. And that can help you, convert more people with that particular video. So it comes down to your personal strategy on are you trying to make a piece of content like a list video of all of these great, coffee mugs or all of these great, live streaming, tech or whatever the thing is. But are you trying to hop in the middle of a buying decision and do that so that you can quickly sell your product? Or are you trying to take the slower route to where you're just slowly growing the brand around the product and therefore you're providing a different type of value that also includes the product, right? And then with that, your conversions aren't going to be as high. However, people are going to get familiar with that. They're going to get familiar with you. They'll keep coming back to your content, and that's going to give you more opportunities to sell those people other things as well. But the approach is you do all of it, right? So you think, okay, over the next 90 days, what is it I'm trying to do? What's going to help me do that the fastest? So if it is bring attention to my coffee cup so I can sell as many as possible, let me make a handful of list videos for that. If it is a part of your approach is to grow a community around coffee that you can also bring attention to your mug with, but they'll also kind of advocate for your behalf and share your content with friends and things like that over time, then in that case, making content about the coffee and then, brew in those cases, but coffee or brew. And then from there, then you can continually introduce your, coffee cups to them over time or your coffee mugs to them over time.
Wow. So the filter is really up to you and kind of where you want to go in the next couple of months or short term. Is that the main filter? Is there any other filters such as keywords or keyword searching that's equally important or in the equation?
Well, first you got to have your goal. That's definitely in the equation, but you first have to know what it is that you're trying to do. So, if over the next 90 days you are trying to sell as many of those coffee mugs as possible, then in that case you need to make sure that you're making the right content to where the intent of the person watching the content is possibly to make a purchase, right? Because you're going to make more sales that way, as long as the videos perform well. But when it comes to that, then you can make that list, and that's where the keywords would come in, to where you would hop into YouTube search and you would find, okay, what are all of the ways that people are looking for information about coffee mugs, or they're looking for, things about coffee mugs to where that person might be considering possibly buying a coffee mug. And the coffee mug might be kind of a rough example here, but you get the idea. But the whole thing is about absolutely finding the keywords and keyword phrases that they are, using to find that type of content, and then making content around those things. But when it comes to your goal and achieving it quickly, that's where you as the creator have to decide, okay, if I'm going to be doing this over a 90-day period, if I can publish a video a week, then where am I going to put my list videos? Where am I going to put my coffee videos? Where am I going to put a review video on this mug? Those types of things. That's where you have to kind of fill in the blank there based on what you're trying to do. And here's another thing too, is when it comes to search, it's extremely powerful and you can grow channels very well when it comes to YouTube search. You can get tons of views on videos when it comes to YouTube search. But when it comes to fast growth, in a lot of cases, that's actually a recommendation play. So it's YouTube recommending content to people. So I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it's something like 70-something% of all of the traffic on YouTube comes from their recommendation system, which means people are logging into YouTube and then YouTube on their homepage is saying, hey, here's some stuff to watch. And then people are clicking on videos there. Or they're watching a video and then YouTube's suggesting another video in the suggested area and people are clicking on videos there. That's where almost 70+%.
So if you're focused on search and keywords, that will only help you 30-ish% of the time.
No. Even if you optimize a video for search, that video can still get recommended. But if you optimize a video for recommendations, that video is more likely to do well in recommendations. Okay. So a way that I like to explain this is if you optimize a video for search and you go to bed right now, and let's say that it's about, coffee, your coffee mug, right? So if you optimize a video for search about the best coffee mug ever, and you go to sleep, you publish that video, in that particular case, when you wake up, there's a really good chance that that video is not going to have, hundreds of thousands of views on it, because even though YouTube might recommend it to people, if it's not a super compelling title and a super compelling topic, then it's probably not going to just catch fire, right? So because of that, you're going to have some of the recommendation play. So you might get, a few thousand views on it or something like that, maybe even, tens of thousands of views. But when it comes to long term on that video, you're going to have to wait quite some time, because you're going to have to wait for people to start searching for that if the video doesn't thrive in the recommendation system. But once you get good search traffic, then it also, or once you get good placements in YouTube search, it often also shows up in Google search as well. So then you also double your traffic source there. So there's advantages to search. But when it comes to recommendations, totally different play. You could publish the video, and if the video is broad enough in nature in terms of the amount of people that are likely to find that content relevant and interesting to them, you publish that video, and it's a good performing video in terms of people click on it at a competitive rate, and then they end up enjoying that content at a competitive rate compared to other videos, then you can wake up and have hundreds of thousands of views on that particular video. So the difference when it comes to the recommendation engine versus search is that with recommendations, things can happen a lot faster, right? So for example, if you look at the fastest growing channel on YouTube and the biggest channel on YouTube, Mr. Beast, he doesn't even consider search. He doesn't optimize anything for keywords. His whole entire play is recommendations, right? And he publishes a video, and within minutes, he's got hundreds of thousands, and then a couple minutes later, he's got millions of views, and then they just start stacking up, right? And all of that comes from YouTube's recommendation system. None of that comes from search, outside of if people are going into YouTube search because they know he published a video and they're typing in Mr. Beast, and then that's going to lead them into that video there. So he will get search traffic there, but a majority of his viewership is going to be coming from the recommendation system. But again, search is super powerful. If you make the right type of content for search, it can bring in tons of views. It can bring in stable traffic. It can bring in lots of money. So if you have your own products or services that you sell, or if you promote things as an affiliate, in both of those scenarios, if you get good placements for search where people are looking for things, they can drive substantial amounts of income over a very long period of time. I've got videos of mine that I published 8 years ago that still drive affiliate revenue today. So
I might have missed it and all that, but I still don't think I heard the answer to how do I know whether I've optimized for recommendations?
So this is the example I like to give. So I'm going to use this mouse. Okay. Mm-hmm. So with this mouse, if you're listening to this, I have a computer mouse in my hand. This is the example that we're going to give. So if I was optimizing this for YouTube search, then in that particular case, the video that I'm making about this mouse, it could be a review video. And this is where the topic comes into play. It could be a review video about this mouse, but in order for it to be a review video about this mouse, an important part of it is people would have to already know about this mouse in the first place. Okay. So in this case, it's a Logitech mouse. And if somebody was looking for this and I hop into YouTube search, I'm like, okay, people are looking for this. Therefore, let me make a review about this because people are looking for it already. And I'm going to make a review of the Logitech mouse. Then in that particular case, I would, optimize keywords for that based around what it is that people are looking for. In the thumbnail, I could just have the mouse, or I could have myself, pointing to the mouse, whatever the thing is. Now, that is if I'm going for search. Some of that, you'll also get recommendation traffic, but the whole strategy for that video is YouTube search in that scenario. Now, if I was trying to optimize for recommendations, here's the difference. I don't have to put Logitech mouse review. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to capture as many people as I possibly can that might be interested in a computer mouse. So therefore, instead of making the packaging in terms of the thumbnail and title optimized for this mouse around a Logitech, MX Master 3 review, instead my approach would be this mouse increased my productivity by 15%, right? This mouse made my job, so much easier, those types of things. I don't have to call it out by name. I don't have to do anything like that. Instead, what I'm trying to do is when somebody's scrolling on YouTube and they're on YouTube's homepage and this thumbnail of this mouse grabs their attention, or me pointing to it, whatever the thing is, then they go down to the title and then it says, this mouse increased my productivity by 20%. Then anybody interested in productivity, they don't have to be interested in the mouse. They have to be interested in productivity, could see this and go, oh, I wonder what that is. And then they can click on that. And then they come in and then they can watch the video there. So the play is when you're targeting YouTube search, you have to be optimizing for things that people are actively looking for. When you are targeting recommendations, you have to be trying to grab people's attention and pull them in a more general way. So therefore, the topics that you make your video about, even if you're trying to bring attention to the same exact mouse, the topic is going to be different, right? Because you are packaging it up for the traffic source that you're trying to tap into, not necessarily for, the product itself, if that makes any sense.
And I can't do both. The engineer in me says, oh, I have the answer.
You can.
I just
you can.
Improve your productivity with the Logitech MX mouse. Why does that not work?
You can do that. So we call that double dipping. So when it comes to that approach, what you do is it would be this Logitech MX Master 3 mouse, or this Logitech mouse, or this Logitech Master 3, whatever the keywords are that they'd be looking for, increase my productivity by, X%. So you can absolutely do that 100%. But the problem is when it comes to using keywords or just keyword targeting, you're on top of it there. When it comes to keyword targeting, a lot of people will just take the actual keyword phrase that people are looking for, and then they'll add like a how-to in front of it, or best, or whatever the thing is. And then they will try to get that to show up in search. But let's talk about something else too. So when it comes to search, there are other things that can also go a little bit more broad when it comes to search and recommendations. So for example, if you did make a list video about, must-have office accessories for 2025, for that, you could still include this mouse. If, let's say, it was your mouse and you're trying to sell it, you could still include this mouse there. If people are looking for that in YouTube search, which they are, then in that case, you can still show up there. And if you get a good response there compared to the other videos that are showing up, then your video can stay there and drive a lot of attention to this mouse. But because that's just an interesting topic by itself, that can also perform well in the recommendation system, because that's also something to where you're like, 10 office accessories for, 10 of the best office accessories or must-have office accessories for 2025, then it's also really compelling if it just shows up on your homepage, right? So then it's also a double dip in a way, but that also starts at the topic level as well. So before, when I mentioned how important topics are, this is where topics really come into play, and it's really important to start thinking, before you even make the video in the first place, what am I going to make this about, and how can I package it up? And what I mean by package it up is, before I commit to making the video, I'm going to make sure that I'm packaging this up for the traffic source that I'm trying to reach, meaning what exactly am I going to do with the thumbnail for this, and how will the people that I'm trying to reach, the way that I'm wanting to do this thumbnail, how will it help them identify that this video is about something that they care about? So, because it grabs their attention. And then from there, how can I make a compelling title, if I was going for recommendations as an example, that would make this something that people would be interested in if it just happened to show up on their homepage if they weren't looking for it. And then if you do all of that in the beginning, then you can say, okay, I can't get that to work, so maybe I need to adjust the topic a little bit to make it a little bit more appropriate for recommendations compared to search, or vice versa, right? So that's kind of the play.
So it's kind of a balance between figuring out your avatar and your audience, and then understanding which, I hate to use the word silos, but I think to a degree, which segments or silos in YouTube you want to optimize your content so it will get to that audience, because not all my avatars may want long form. Maybe some of my avatars want short form, and I have to package for the different ones. Is that kind of it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's exactly it. But at the keel, the core of all of that though is that avatar, right? Because you have to know who it is that you're making content for. Because if you don't know who it is that you're making content for, then you're just going to throw up a bunch of stuff, and you might have something that sticks or you might not. Because if you are just making a bunch of content that isn't necessarily targeted towards a specific avatar, then what can happen is somebody comes and they watch your video on one thing, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I'm subscribing. I'm going to watch all of their content. And they watch a couple of videos. They're getting super involved. And then you make content about something else. Well, that person that you were originally targeting, it's not a good fit for them. So you've kind of broken their trust in the content that you're publishing and in how they can depend on you as a source for that type of content.
You really are like drinking from a fire hose. And I don't know about
I told you. I told you, right?
Yeah. Well, for everybody, and this brings just to you. I mean, what have you figured out your channel's really for? Have you figured out your avatar? Was there a tip there that Nick just surprised you with? As you could tell, there were quite a few that surprised me. And while you're there, hit that like and subscribe and stick with us, because coming up, we're going to be talking about how Nick can explain how a service-based business can use YouTube as a lead machine. So you don't need 1 million views. It sounds like we just need the right views. So if you're over 40 and hoping YouTube can provide some income, pay close attention to what's coming next.
Really, when it comes to YouTube, you just need one good video. Like that, like the idea is that if you have one video that gets in front of a large number, and by large, I mean, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, maybe even 10,000 people, because most of the videos on YouTube, it's something staggering, like 67 or 87, whatever. It's a high number that most videos on YouTube don't even get 1,000 views on them. So if you have your product and you can get that in front of 1,000 people or 5,000 people for the videos that you publish, for every video that you publish, then you can, you don't have to have a bunch of videos on your channel. You don't have to have a bunch of people, that are fans of yours. You don't have to have any of that. You just have to get in front of them, and then you have to have it to where they resonate with you in some way, either how you explain things or how you show things or the way that you view things, whatever it is. They need to resonate with you in some way, and then they need to know that that offer is available. And then as long as that offer helps fulfill a need that they have, or solve a problem that they have, then in that particular case, it doesn't matter if they've watched one of your videos or if they've watched 10 of your videos. If it solves a problem for them and they see value in it, then they can still make that purchase. So that's another reason that I'm an advocate for, if you have the time, trying to monetize right out of the gate, so that, if you do have that video that takes off, or you have, a few videos that take off relatively early in the journey, then you're able to start producing that income right away, which will be motivating for you. It'll help you learn faster, because then you'll be able to say, hey, these videos, when I made these, not only did they do well, but they converted great for me. So maybe I should make more of these videos, right? And then you have people in your program, while everything is still small and growing, you have people in your program or whatever it is that you're offering. You have people using your service or buying your products. And since there's not tons of people doing it yet, that gives you time to really get to know that customer, right? And really fine tune what it is that you make, so that once you do get things operating at scale, you have just something amazing that you can give the people that are interacting with your content.
Well, I love those nuances. And essentially the common denominator is doing good enough on YouTube, but not everybody has the same goals that they ultimately want the YouTube audience to be driven to. So I think that really takes us to where we're getting towards the end. And I want to explore some of the unexpected ways creators over 40 are making money. All right. Not every creator wants a merch or even a course. I mean, Nick doesn't have a course. So what else is there? So Nick, what are some of the common monetization strategies that you've seen work particularly well for creators over 40, and maybe more importantly, the uncommon ones?
So when it comes to creators over 40, I mean, really, when it comes to monetization on YouTube, like they work well for everybody. So, as long as you do them correctly. So affiliate marketing can be huge. So if you are promoting things as an affiliate, let me back up. So affiliate marketing, if you're not familiar with that, is where you find products or services that you can let people know about on your YouTube channel, and then you drive them down into your video description, and you have links available, and those links have tracking links or tracking numbers attached to them. And if somebody clicks on one of those links and then they go and make a purchase, then you get a commission. That's what affiliate marketing is. So it's amazing when it comes to YouTube, because if you start publishing videos to YouTube on a regular basis, you end up having an army of videos out there working for you 24/7 while you're asleep, while you're out enjoying yourself, while you're taking an Uber, while you're out on your walk, things like that. You have all these videos out there that are working on your behalf to sell things, which is amazing. In addition to that, when it comes to affiliate marketing, you don't have to manage any products. You don't have to worry about customer service, any of that stuff. You just have to know that when the people are going there, they're going to have a good experience with this. It's going to help them, in whatever way it's going to help them. And this is a reputable company I'm sending them to, and I'm going to, send them there. And then you make videos about it, and then for every person that clicks on that link and makes a purchase, then you get a sale. A way to amplify that is, depending on the type of content that you make and the type of viewer that you're trying to reach and the problems that you're solving, if you can find affiliate marketing options that are recurring, then you can really blow things up quickly. So for example, if you're talking about anything that has software involved or anything like that, or any type of subscription services, those types of things, you can really make a lot of money in a relatively short amount of time because of the recurring nature. So the idea there is, every month when somebody pays, just like you pay Netflix every month when somebody pays for that thing, you get a commission for that every month. Some companies will do it for a year in terms of the commission. Some companies will do it for a lifetime. So for example, another company I work with called TubeSpanner, they have a lifetime affiliate program. So with them, you get half, or I think it starts at 30 or 35%, but you get, we'll say 35%, but once you start sending a decent amount of sales, then they up you to 50%. But you get half of the sale without having to build anything, without having to, have any developers, without having to manage anything. And the idea there is, if you can find things like that, then it just gives you that opportunity to where you can make videos, let people know about those things, and you don't have to worry about anything else. And then the money starts coming in. In addition to that, you have your own products. So when it comes to products, a lot of people will think of physical things like the coffee cups that we've been talking about, pretty much the whole conversation today. But you can also do a lot of things digitally. So one of the things that I've made a decent amount of money on is a website where, on that website, people can go there and they pay a monthly subscription. So it's recurring, like I talked about on the affiliate marketing thing, but this one's mine. So basically, it's a recurring program. They pay every single month. Each user gives me $17 a month, and in return, they get graphics. They get tons and tons and tons of graphics that they can use in their videos. There's like Photoshop files in there, transitions, like all the stuff that you need for videos, right? So they have that in there. And that particular thing, it's not a course, but it's a recurring thing, and it's my product. So with that, the downside is that I do have to think about like lifetime value, and I got to think about, customer service. If somebody can't log in, we got to deal with all of that. So that comes with extra work, but I control everything. So I know that when somebody goes in there, they're going to have a good experience. In addition to that, you also have ebooks. So ebooks are really underestimated, or undervalued, I should say. So when people think of ebooks, especially older folks like us, especially if you've been in internet marketing for any amount of time, then, you kind of think of ebooks kind of like they're slimy, right? Like, oh, this guy's got an ebook that he's selling, right? And it kind of gives you that slimy type of feeling. But in reality, ebooks can generate a substantial amount of money as long as you have something good in the ebook. So if you just have like a little guide that people download or something like that, maybe not. But I have a friend of mine. He does travel content. And I'm mentioning this one because you mentioned that you have someone in your program that does travel content. Mm-hmm. So what he does is, when he travels everywhere, he makes itineraries for the places that he travels. And then he makes those itineraries available in his video descriptions. So without any promotion, outside of maybe like one or two videos, without hardly any promotion, he generates around $8,000 a month just off of people going and downloading his itineraries. So in terms of, that particular thing. It's really an ebook is what it is, but it's an itinerary. So how that works is he sets up a website for it. He sends people to that website, and then he has, Stripe or whatever payment system that he uses. And then once they sign up for it, then they get a download immediately. And one of the really cool things about digital products when it comes to YouTube is if you choose to do this, once you hit certain subscriber and view requirements, then they give, or once you're in the partner program, then you have the option to actually put things underneath your video. So if you have like a Shopify store, for example, and you have digital products or ebooks or whatever the thing is, then you can put links to those directly under your YouTube video. And in some cases, if you're going to be talking about them in your video, a specific product, in some cases, you can even tag that product and have it show up directly on YouTube right there on the screen as well, on long form videos and in short form content. So there's a lot of opportunity there to get visibly to get that in front of people in addition to the videos that you're making. So digital products are fantastic for that. People do well with physical products. So I had the opportunity, a friend of mine way back when I was first getting started, I'm not sure, Doug, if you've talked to Owen Video yet, but Owen Video and we had a podcast called The Business of Video. And this was, I don't know, probably 8 years ago. And during that time, we had somebody on, and they had a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel, and they made microfiber cleaning cloths. And they had them imported, they had them made in China, and then they, imported them from there, and they sold them to their viewers. And that became just the microfiber cloths by itself. That became like a full-time side business for them, to where they had to hire people to like help manage it and all that stuff, because so many people were buying their microfiber cloths, and all it was the microfiber cloth, but it was a digital, but it was a physical product that they would have. So physical products can also be good if you have something that fits. In addition to that, your own products, or we've already got your products, but your own services. So when it comes to your expertise, a lot of people are afraid to offer it for sale. But if you have any expertise at all, I just want you to get comfortable with the idea that whatever it is that there's people out there that are trying to figure it out. And if people are trying to figure it out and they don't want to spend a lot of time figuring it out, and they know that they can spend a few bucks with you, and by a few bucks, I mean anywhere from a few $100 to a few $1,000s, depending on, what your level of expertise is and exactly what your expertise is in, then in that case, you can put that up for sale. And that's not something where you have to cram it down anybody's throat or anything like that. You let people know it's available. And when you let people know that it's available, the people that see the value in it will get in touch. And then you can provide that service to them. So people will pay for that expertise that you have, just so that they can cut down their learning curve, because their time is more important than that money that they're going to give you. For this, all you have to do to get started, so you can do this in your next video, even if you don't have a website, even if you don't have anything else available. To get started, all you have to do is have an email. Put that email in your video description. Make sure it's not your regular email. Make sure it's not the email that's connected to your YouTube channel. It could be like your name and then services or something like that. And it can even be a Gmail account. It doesn't matter, because it's in your video description, and they know that they're going to be able to trust it because it's in your video description. And then right above that, say, contact me for my services here. And then there, they can send you an email directly, and then you can start the conversation there. Now, of course, once you start getting some customers and you have some time, getting a website together, those types of things, so that you can, have that available for the people that want that information, is definitely something that you should do. But that thing that I told you for your next video, I've worked with people in the past that did that, and just from that email address, they started generating income from their YouTube channel, and they weren't even monetized yet. So when it comes to that, even though it seems low tech, right? Like we expect these days, like, oh, everything's got to be big and huge and professional. That parasocial relationship is super powerful, and people will contact you through that email if you have a service available, and they will pay you for that service. So, so that's another one. And then, of course, sponsorships. Once you start getting some regular activity on your videos, I know, Doug, you interviewed Roger Wakefield as well, the guy behind this cup. But basically, when it comes to Roger, he's amazing. But he came onto YouTube as a plumber. And even though he grew blew up his business even more through that YouTube channel, he also does substantially well with sponsorships also. So even though he has his entire business that he runs, plus his YouTube channel, he has his sponsorships as like a whole other arm of monetization for what it is that he's doing. But in order for that to happen, you do need consistent view counts, and a brand needs to see value in what it is that you're doing, which also kind of brings all of this right back to the avatar, which is if you do lock in on that avatar, it will instantly make you more valuable to brands that are also trying to reach that same avatar that you're trying to reach. So for example, when it comes to me, the reason that I do well when it comes to sponsorships is because every single video that I publish is for YouTubers. So anybody that's wanting to reach YouTubers, they look at my channel and they're like, oh yeah, this dude's reaching YouTubers. And then they'll send me an email and they'll want to, work with me. So once you start getting some consistent view counts, then sponsorships are also a really good way to monetize what it is that you're doing.
Wow. So many, microfiber cloths. You think something's got to have batteries. No, that doesn't even require batteries. And itineraries. What could be more simple than that? I've got to tell my friend right away because she's got some great itineraries. Nick, these are so cool. I'm blown away. You left me inspired, and I hope everybody out there is as inspired as I am. But I want to throw one thing in there because I think this is important. Nick, you made a big difference because when I first had this idea for the Brimming with Wisdom series, I thought, I wonder if anybody will take this seriously. So I reached out to probably 100 YouTubers and you were one of the biggest and the first to respond. And I just wanted you to know that that was really appreciated because it gave me the validation to go down this route, and I think it's a exciting one. So I do appreciate your.
That's awesome.
It was great, and it just really helped. So anyway, where can people find you if they want to learn more about all the amazing things that you've got?
So you can search for me on YouTube or on Google. Just look for Nick Nimmin, NickNimmin. Or you can go to nicknimmin.com/connect, and then that will, that'll show you, my website. And that's really just kind of like a link in bio type page where it just, will send you to my Twitter and, my YouTube channel and those types of things. So nicknimmin.com/connect will be the way to find that, or just go to nicknimmin.com.
And I didn't overlook, you mentioned an app during our conversation. Is there an app coming out that we can get on, like a beta list or something?
So I don't have a list set up for that yet. I'm probably going to do that this weekend, actually. But when it comes to that particular app, it's an app that I've made for new content creators. Helps you come up with an endless amount of video ideas, has a content calendar in there so you can actually schedule and be strategic about the videos that you're publishing. In addition to that, it has some AI features to where you can upload a thumbnail into it, and it gives you feedback on how you can make that thumbnail better. It's got a place where you can store all of your video ideas sorted by content type, all kinds of really helpful things, upload checklists and, those sorts of things. But it's called New Creator, and I'm currently going back and forth with Apple trying to get it into the App Store, which is a challenge. And once we get it in there, then it will be available. So you will be able to just look for that in the App Store. This is iPhone only, so you can only use it, of course, if you're on an iPhone. But I'm going to make it. It's already really close, but I'm going to make it the best app for content creators on YouTube. So definitely make sure that you do look for that when you get the chance, or just pay attention to my YouTube channel, and as soon as that's available, I'll be making a video about it.
Awesome. Well, I want to check that out. And for everybody watching, I know it was like drinking from a fire hose. I know that's how I feel, but I've got some liquid refreshment that's helping. But if today's conversation gave you hope or maybe just one tip that you didn't have before, would you share in the comments? Kind of let me know what you're going to try and what really excites you. And, to subscribe too, because that's how we keep this channel going and get more amazing guests like Nick that are going to be joining us and proving that over 40 creators are just getting started, because you're not too late. You're actually ready for YouTube. Nick, cheers, my friend.
Doug, cheers. Thank you for the opportunity to come on here and have this conversation. I appreciate it.
Well, this was a blast. Thank you.